agenda items, I'll need a motion to have. The minutes are not here, so we'll have to not do the minutes for tonight. And coordinator appointment.
That I have to be appointed to that.
Okay, so BG will need to be appointed for that. And after the pump and fire station, we also need to talk about the roof of the town garage. I'll entertain a motion to change the agenda to include those items. Motion made and seconded to include the mentioned items on the agenda. Any more discussion? If having none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Alrighty then, so it puts us right on schedule now at 6:03 to the salt shed informational meeting, which we will now open up, and I guess I'll pass it over to Bethany and
Yes.
go right into it.
Yeah, so the purpose of this meeting, this is the public concerns meeting is a required meeting when you have projects that are going through VTrans's Municipal Assistance Bureau. So the purpose is just to make the public aware and stakeholders aware that the project is happening and get any initial concerns or comments. I'll just need to do get the meeting minutes and forward it to VTrans. No hurry, but they'll just want that for their records, proving that this meeting did happen. So just to remind you, the project is for a new salt and sand shed at the town garage. It's funded by the VTrans Transportation Alternatives Program, where you're getting $300,000 in federal funds and having $75,000 of local match that you'll need in order to use those federal dollars. The town, what we have on the table is going for an 80 by 180 salt shed that would be able to take the 5,000 yards of sand and 225 tons of salt, or thereabouts, that Joey needs.
What about?
Did you say 80 by 180?
Yeah. 80 by 180 is what we've been operating under, and that's kind of what Joey and the town brought to the table from the beginning.
Okay.
What were the tons again, approximately?
Joey, last I know, it's 5,000 yards of sand that he uses and 225 tons of salt.
Yep.
And 225 tons of salt.
Do you have any salt right now?
Yeah.
Just got a little. Only a salt shaker, right?
It's been tough. So progress to date has included, the town has hired DuBois & King as the design engineer. We had a project kickoff meeting and a site visit several weeks ago. Larry, Joey, I attended, and the VTrans project manager and the consultant team. The consultants have done a survey of the site, and they've done test pits, and they've done some initial conditions and proposed conditions mapping. Some issues that have come up that I just want to update you on. One being, the most significant is a potential zoning issue. The consultants researched the required setbacks in the zone, and for commercial and industrial use, which this is not, but it's not residential,
Right.
is 75 feet from center line. The consultants did come up with a sketch of if the town was adhering to that 75 feet, what that would mean as far as the project, the new salt and sand shed. And it means reducing, they drew a sand shed that was 170 by 60, so smaller. And it would impact the existing retaining wall and kind of the elevations between the garage and where the sand pile is now. So not ideal, but if you had to operate in that world, doable or possible. However, in your zoning, you do have a process for doing setback waivers, which I'm reading, it looks like, you know, with this public project, you would be able to be eligible for those waivers, which would reduce it from 75 feet from center line to half of that, 37.5.
That sounds good.
So
Okay.
So we'd have to go through the process, have a public
Yep.
hearing for
That would go through the DRB.
Right?
In front of, yeah, in front of the
How many yards, Bethany, what'd you say, 60 by 170?
60 by 170 is what they drew on the map
Yeah.
with the 75-foot setback. They did not do calculations as far as how many tons that would be.
Right.
But it seems from you're having to deal with a reduced size plus impacting that retaining wall and the slopes that the waiver is justified, and I recommend the town proceed with
Right.
that.
Right.
And I can come back with some information on how the town would formally do that request
Okay,
and start it with the DRB.
okay.
The sooner the design consultant knows, the better, because then we'll be able to finish the conceptual plans.
So, where are we? So we wouldn't make the April meeting.
I saw the April meeting's canceled anyway.
It is?
Did I read that? No, am I spreading rumors?
Oh,
I
I'd
don't
love
think there
it
is
if
an
it
April meeting.
was.
I think the next one that's been warned is May 10th, I think.
Look, it's like Christmas. So not an April meeting?
I don't have anything on the agenda.
The DRB.
For DRB, April 10th? April 11th?
I know there's something for May.
Okay. So then, okay.
Joey, would you put the whole 225 ton of salt the whole entire month, or is it
Wouldn't have to.
through the winter?
It'd be nice to hold like 5 loads, half that, but
Um,
wouldn't have to, it depends, that's why I was waiting to see
Yeah.
how much room we had and how big of a building we could put, and,
Okay.
in order to get this much sand, you might have to only put 100 tons of salt versus 200. If we could fit it all, it'd be good, but, no, I mean, we buy it pretty much a load at a time right now. I can get 2 or 3 to start with in the fall of the year, and then it's pretty much load at a time, so if it could get half the year's worth and then get the other half at the tail end, take this is the second time we've run into this salt shortage, and it's like pulling teeth, can't get salt.
right.
I had to borrow a tandem load from the village to get by for a while, so we could get a load, so.
Oh my gosh. So do you want me to be in touch with Angie and let her know of the process that's coming?
Yeah, if you think that that's best.
Yep. And
best way forward.
then get it warned for the May meeting?
Why, how much are we in violation?
Well, it sounds like
Well, you're
it
not in
was
violation, it's just gonna,
the
if you
waiver
don't
of
get it,
setback.
it's gonna reduce it from a
Mhm.
180 to 60 by 170. And the retaining wall is now gonna be probably closer to the shed where it has a steeper drop. So you'd like to be able to get that retaining wall up probably 10 feet or so, probably more. So if you could work with an extra 30 feet,
Yeah, because to 60 by 170, even with the 12-foot walls, are like 4,500 yards.
Right,
That's not peaked in the middle, that's like square. But
right.
So that's
So
probably about
capacity.
what it would take in order to peak it in the middle to get the 5,000
Yeah.
there.
Okay,
So 12-foot concrete, I don't know.
And I think that's gonna be going this week.
this week?
Well,
I'll call her
somebody else
tomorrow.
brought their paperwork in today.
Okay, I'll call her
Because they
tom-
said she was warning at this time.
Tomorrow, and can I send her to your number if she has any questions about how to
Sure.
warn that?
Yeah.
Okay, about the waiver? Okay.
Is that 80 or 60 people going to decide?
Maybe we wouldn't build
Yeah.
you wouldn't build up enough sand.
And they're already having a DRB hearing anyway.
Yeah.
It's just a matter
Well, I
of
know, but
asking a
I'm just-
question. We don't have to pay for it.
No, it's not so much that, it's just that, us and ourselves, we,
I know, but
it's gonna be open for the
considering,
public to respond on it.
exactly, and
Yeah.
considering it's, the whole point of this project is water quality and good design, to shift that would be a little weird.
I mean, in order to hold that much sand, working with
Exactly.
those restrictions, I mean, you would have to, if you can't go wider and longer, you gotta go taller, so.
Right.
okay, no, I'm just,
You don't want a shed that you're gonna put half of it up and have to rely on drawing the other half in the winter.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
And I'm not a zoning expert, but the waiver language, it seemed like they were hitting all that criteria, and that's why that process is in there for the
Right.
setbacks.
Mhm.
And it's much better to do that than try to do like variances or things.
Right.
You know, this
We're
is.
having a hearing where they change a bylaw just for this one.
Exactly, like this is, you're gonna be following the bylaws
Yeah, right. by doing
by going this process.
Exactly, okay.
So another issue, or just a point of information that the design consultant needs, is information on the well that's at the corner of the lot.
Okay.
That it's right near the intersection of 108 and Tyler Branch.
That belongs with Tim Hayes.
The trailer
Owns
across the
store,
street.
The trailer, the
Yep.
house.
And so the design consultant wanted to get information on that, but they can't find any permitting or well reports for that. And so I'm just trying to track down, because the state has records for wells, private wells after 1966. The consultant was able to find the well that the town tried to drill at the site in 1966. I guess did 7 tries and gave up.
Is that?
That's what the well report
Do they have a tag
says.
on the well
It
itself?
usually is tagged.
Yeah, there should be a date on
Okay.
that well. But I never was aware that the town, of course, I wouldn't known about it back then.
Right.
You were just a pup.
Never heard about it, but apparently, yeah, they tried to drill one.
Where does that well go for Tim? Does it just to the trailer?
I think it goes to the house, the trailer, and the store, I believe, but I'm not sure.
Well, it looks
Well,
like the house does have
didn't they
one.
drill one a few years ago in the backyard of the house?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did, I think that goes.
To those
Yeah,
things too,
They
right?
did split some of it up, so yeah, you're right.
The house has, in 2007, they drilled a well
For the house.
for the house.
Yeah.
It's right at the house location, but,
And I think maybe the store too.
Yeah.
Would that information be there? or-
so it doesn't say whether what it services, just gives the location or the closest 911 address to it.
Yeah.
But the reason the consultant wants to know is just because if there's a well there, wanting to make sure that we're notifying the folks that use that well. Just
Well, that
confirming it's
person
still-
owns the house, the store, and the trailer, so.
Yep.
Seem like that.
And then a couple other issues, they went out to do the test pits. Joey saw them out there. They said that the soil looks good for the building. However, it was wet and they couldn't get down to bedrock. They were about 10 feet down and didn't hit bedrock. Does that jive with what?
I'm surprised it didn't, because it's exposed there in one place, I showed it to them. Of course, you know how that goes up and down. So
Yeah.
Right.
So what they've said is that they may need to do borings to really confirm the bedrock, to know where the footings are going to be. But they would want to know where exactly the building is going to sit on the lot before they did borings. That's
Extra money?
That is extra money.
Is that-
That was something that was in their proposal, that it didn't include borings, and that it would be an extra cost if it did need borings.
So it's my understanding we're gonna be 4 foot.
Frost
Whole
line.
frost line, and then we're gonna do a footer, so what difference does it make?
I'm happy to reach back out to them with these specific,
I mean, if we hit
Concerns.
ledge within the 4 feet, they just drill and pin to it and you don't have to dig so deep.
okay. So do you, can you just give me that,
Why the boring?
question the need for borings?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know the importance of.
If you're not hitting bedrock within 4 feet, there's gonna be a footer poured anyways,
Right,
and your wall's gonna sit on top of that, so it won't be in the way. I think the whole thing is if it's in the way, you might have to be more cost to
Yeah.
break it down or something.
yeah, oh yeah, I can see that, if it's higher
But
than,
if, yeah,
if it's higher than.
but if it's
4.
lower, they shouldn't have to bore to find it, because we're not gonna dig that
Right,
far down.
and if it's higher, you just nail to it and use less concrete, so.
Yeah.
And the only place they may hit it is in the further corner. They didn't dig over there because there's our water line goes through there, and I told them that, so they stayed away from there. If they would have
Okay.
dug over in that corner, maybe they would have hit it. but-
Okay, no, I'll definitely follow that when we have time, because they're working on other stuff to be able to,
Because I don't believe there's any importance if they hit it, they dig down 2 feet and hit ledge, they just step the footer and
Yeah.
drill and pin to it, and it's not gonna move. Frost's not gonna affect it.
Right.
And then once they
Right.
hit below 4 foot level, it'd be a footer. maybe there's something I.
That might
don't
be
know
crazy talk and state talk.
Well, it's worth asking.
No, exactly.
I bring up these points, ask the questions, and then I bring the response back to you, and you see if it makes sense.
Right.
You know, is it because they're gonna have to be so detailed in their bid
That's,
that there isn't as much flexibility when you're out in the field to make those changes that you're talking about?
Right.
I don't know. It's different than a sidewalk.
yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and moving along, the last thing, the Du Bois King's proposal included a sub-consultant for archaeological resources because they need that to get clearance. It did not include the historical review,
Okay.
which is required. It's unfortunate that we didn't pick up on it, but it's confirmed that we do need to get both archaeological and historical review.
Right.
The sub-consultant, in order to do the historical review, it would be, let me see about this budget update for you, an additional $1,836. If the town, I'm happy to go back and ask any questions about this. They wouldn't be able to start work until all the snow is gone anyway. But if,
It's just interesting. Isn't that interesting that they wouldn't go together?
I know, and I always look at it as
Yeah.
going together,
Yeah.
because you're just used to always hearing them together.
Yeah.
But I went back to the proposal, and it was specifically only archaeological, and
We'll dig it up, but we won't look at it.
well, the archaeological, the
Oh,
historical
so the archaeological is
is
covered.
included.
Covered, right?
And I think that's what they were
Historical
thinking.
is not.
Is making sure that you're not digging into anything that you can't be.
Right.
But the historical would be making sure that the project isn't negatively impacting the historical structures that are around.
Right.
Or documenting that it's not.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's
I
the
gotcha.
reason.
Okay.
If the town wants to approve this, I would just be bringing you an amendment to the Boyd & King
Okay.
contract. And I'm happy to ask any additional questions of them.
Beth, now it's this right away, $1,500. What's the, what that come from?
Yeah, so typically with these projects that go through the Municipal Assistance Bureau, there are a lot of sidewalk projects where you have to get either permanent or temporary easements from adjacent landowners in order to construct the project, and that can be costly. And this project, we don't need that, but we still need the consultant to document that there is no right-of-way issues. Hopefully it can be even less than that, but in the grant we put $1,500 just because if we put zero, V-Trans wouldn't like that.
Yep, that makes sense.
And this is just there's not much activity, not much expenditure yet, but I just want to give you a review of budget.
So this amendment, 39,089,06, would be reflected in the second line over, contracted budget?
Yep. It would increase from the 37,253 to 39,089.06.
So you would need a motion on that?
Yeah.
Yes, I would need a motion if you want to.
This is to add a historical review.
Is that also with the borings or no?
That does not include the borings.
That
That
is
is just adding the additional 1,836 for the historical review.
Okay, so I'll move to alter the money, the contracted or budgeted money to include the $1,836 for the historical review. To $39,089.06.
So motion's been made and seconded to alter the contract budgeted from 37,253 to 39,089.06, which includes a historical review at that second mentioned price. Any more discussion? Have none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Okay.
All those opposed, say nay.
So for your next meeting, I will forward to Billy Joe the contract amendment to sign.
Okay.
So that's all I had as far as updates. unless you have any other questions for me about the project or Joey.
No, I was just kinda curious as to see what size we're gonna build a pit there, that's all.
Yep, so I will, and I'll do an email updating them on this meeting. The consultant is aware that the town may opt to do the waiver, which will give a lot more flexibility as far as size and arrangement on the lot. And I'll also ask those questions about the borings of the footer, and I'll include you, Joey, so you can see the response right
Unless
away.
there's something we're missing there, I don't really see where,
Yeah, where they need to find the ledge, because that's what it sounds like, they want to find it.
yeah.
And, if you go below the scope of where the wall needs to be, it doesn't need to be.
I think that was the plan, it was 4 foot, that's what they said, that day we were there. I think
Yeah,
they were
4 foot
talking
cross walls, what I
4
understood.
foot, yeah, 4
Do
foot below existing grade.
we need any kind of movement from the board to pursue the setback waiver?
I think that would be,
Be wise, yeah. So I move to pursue the setback waiver through the DRB. Granted, it meets all the requirements.
I'll second.
So a motion's been made and seconded to pursue, going through the zoning setback waiver process. Any more discussion? Having none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
All right.
All those opposed, say nay.
I did it in the time frame. 10 minutes.
There we go.
Cooking with gas.
Yeah, so, yeah, if nobody else has any more questions, I guess that should be it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bethany.
Moving along.
And so,
What do the drawings show, Bethany? Is it just kinda like no dimensions, but not?
No, this is the ground survey, and I can leave it, Joey, if you want to keep these for your records, because I have them digitally.
Doesn't matter.
So this was just showing if they had to do the 75-foot setback, what that would,
put it at.
Yeah.
where they would have to put it. And here, I mean, the 75 feet is here, but because of the road curving towards the lot, they would have to actually, back it up. So here.
What is the garage within that 75 feet?
It's well beyond.
It's beyond 75 feet?
Yeah.
Okay.
because
Is
In the
there anything
floodplain, but beyond
No, exactly.
75.
Yeah, it's on the.
Well, I was-
So, I probably should have been a little more clear on the setback, on which road.
Off the
It's
Tyler
from
Ranch?
Bowles, right?
We should have mentioned that.
Or are you just changing one?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Like, the consultant, this is the 75 from 108,
Oh, okay.
which doesn't even get to your existing salt shed.
Right.
So this was the only one we needed to pursue.
Yes.
Tyler Ranch,
Tyler Ranch.
okay.
Unless, Joey, you see anything else. I just don't see you
No,
getting
yeah,
into
no, that's-
anything over here.
That was under my understanding initially, and then I said, oh, maybe we should have made the motion.
I think that one's
Clarify
as
that.
far as off 108, there's plenty of room, it's just the other one, the side.
Right.
I guess that's what you're gonna call the side.
So I was thinking side.
north, yeah,
Yeah,
north side.
that's gonna be the front towards 108, that's where the doors will be.
And you have a 50-foot setback, that's from the adjacent lot line. And they're putting, the shed right at,
Right out the 50?
yeah, right at the 50.
Okay.
So if they try to go with the 180, the original, they'll have to shove it towards the main road.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Because they're right at their 50.
Right, you wouldn't go the other way.
So I just changed some wording in the top
To the
part, not
Tyler
the
Ranch.
motion. But that's
In
what
the-
that
okay.
was where the problem was, so then
Okay.
they could do it.
Okay.
So I'll call Ed tomorrow and get that in the works, and then if there's any questions.
Okay, sounds good.
So, thank you.
That there was nobody here.
Right,
Yeah.
but,
All the public.
I put the public part ended at 6:22.
okay, but, on TV,
What was it?
I don't know. I would have just swing the camera around and just say that there was nobody in attendance.
You just swing the camera and make sure that everybody knows there was no public.
No public. You can do an empty room.
Don't get the floor.
Do you want to start?
It doesn't matter, but yeah, that one will be shoved in the corner. I'm sure there'll be something more coming here.
Yeah.
She's like, worried, one more mat in my office.
It doesn't take any very long to build something like that out.
No.
A couple pushes of a button.
Yep, beep, beep, beep. Bye, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. So now do we need to open up our regular meeting or no? Or are we good to go? We just roll?
Probably have to
Keep rolling. Okay.
Okay, so the next on the agenda is rec director appointment.
Yes. So we had interviews on the 21st. We interviewed 3 people. It is the recommendation of the rec board to go with Yvonne Keogh. Keogh. I was right the first time, okay. Very qualified, almost overqualified. She, her back.
Yvonne is, it's a lady.
Yes. And she is new to town with her husband. They live near Billy Joe. They're Billy Joe's neighbors. Her background is in marketing and communications. She basically was the marketing director in Florida for a TV studio where she had to do all of like fundraising, program events coordinator, and then she also has been adjunct professors at 2 community colleges for marketing. She wants to get involved in the community. She actually some pretty neat in Florida. She used to do a lot of like family programming, like getting family days for the Spanish-speaking kids for the seasonal laborers down in Florida. So she, yeah, exactly. So she has definitely worked in rural communities, and yeah, she's way qualified. Yeah.
So are you moving that?
So we're recommending her for.
She shouldn't because she's on.
Yeah, correctly.
Okay,
I shouldn't
so-
be right. But so the rec would like to recommend her for the rec director position.
I'll move.
I'll second it.
So a motion's been made and seconded to approve Yvonne Keogh as the new rec director. Any more discussion?
What about the other 2?
The other 2,
I mean, does that need to be brought up or not?
nope, I don't think so.
All right, okay.
No more discussion? Having none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
All those opposed say nay. Alrighty.
So I will call her tomorrow and let her know, and then I'll get in touch with Billy Joe and find out when her first day is going to be.
Okay.
Anything else on the agenda pertains to me?
Yeah,
Oh, yes, the.
Yeah.
Maybe we could skip
Well, actually, we could, yeah, we don't have a time on that, so we can put it in right now.
No one.
There's a couple items, pump at the fire station and a roof at town garage.
Yep.
So, there's a, go to the town garage one for you right now. And
well, I stopped in to see you today, but you were gone with the grader there. But no, I've been seeing this roof for some time.
Yeah.
You know,
Needs
it's
to be
nothing
painted.
but getting rustier and rustier and rustier, you know.
We set aside some money in the budget there off of the drain issue, and I figured on getting somebody to paint the roof.
Yeah.
So it just needs to be painted?
I
Or does it
guess,
need more
yeah.
than
I mean,
that?
I don't
Looks to me
know.
like there's rust spots in every place. Is it where the roof is connected? I mean, have they got connectors?
I think so, I think it's underneath the strapping, and I don't really understand why it would rust there.
Because it's on both sides of the garage, of the original.
It's just the original part, the new
Right.
part hasn't showed up yet.
Right.
I think it's where the strapping is, it's 2x4 strapping underneath the steel, and then,
Okay.
see
Well, I just
where
know
the
it's not
strapping
gonna-
is, or,
I just know it's not going to get any better.
Right.
And,
yeah.
it's just going to be.
I know I noticed it, and we talked about it last year, or last summer, or last fall.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's something we have to bid? Is that how that works?
There's not a lot of people on paint roofs.
I was thinking Jeff
Same one.
Wells.
Yeah, he's gonna do mine this
Yeah,
summer.
he's awesome. But I don't know how that works.
Well, once in a while, I know there's a crew that goes around Franklin County painting barn roofs. I don't
Yeah,
know who they
they're
are.
from down south, and
Maybe it's a fly-by-night operation.
I wouldn't recommend that. I know there's certain paint with fiber in it and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's the one I
You know,
got, yeah.
that's what I'd recommend is
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Jeff usually has you buy the materials
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you pay him his labor.
Right. And so I just
now,
went on the Home
now
Depot.
your person is, what, do they do it by hand or?
Jeff
they-
Wells, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did it by hand.
So they can put that fiber,
Yep.
they could use that fiber paint on there.
Yeah.
I just went on the Home Depot and bought it.
Yep.
All the buckets, like 10 5-gallon buckets or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say the sooner the better.
Yeah, we might want to have whoever look at it too, as to maybe there's some screws that are loose. I know the roof has some drips there at times,
It does, yeah.
and it could be just condensation on the steel that when it warms up drips, but I think there is, so maybe it should, somebody look at the screws, make sure they're not, some of them popped out or
Right.
loose, or make sure everything looks good before they paint it.
Paint it.
Right.
And then fix, whatever needs it.
Okay.
So do we have money in the budget for that, do we?
You said some good
They did put some extra money in the garage budget this year for mainly the drain, but I also was kind of figuring we're gonna need to do the roof too, so. And I didn't really know what that cost, I mean, I don't think that's gonna be a big expense if it doesn't need a lot of work.
Mine was super reasonable.
Especially if we buy the materials and somebody just does it by the hour and put it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you have a brush or? Yeah,
Yep,
the old
he brought
way.
all the brushes.
Yeah.
And he, because my roof was the same, he tightened everything down.
Mhm.
He works for a roofing company. Who's the, is it Billadu? No.
No,
what is it?
Derby.
No. Oh, no, yeah, Derby. You're right. I thought you meant the town of Derby. You're right, it's Derby out of Richford. You're right. That's who he works for.
I know Jeff.
Yes.
He's a good boy.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
usually does, like, he walks around, takes a look, and then gives you an estimate.
Yeah.
And he tightened, he's like, you got a lot of loose stuff up there. He's like, I tightened it down. I was like, oh. It's like, I tightened it down, I covered some spots.
What do I do, get him to look at it first and give us some sort of a price and
I
then?
guess so.
Well, I have his number at the office I can give to Joey if you want to contact, if you want to
Yeah.
leave it up to Joey to contact
Or
him.
if you want to call him, just tell him to get in touch with us or whatever.
Yeah, and you just
We can go from there, I guess.
meet them down in the town garage, and if we ever get into spring weather.
Yeah, seriously, it's supposed to be down at 36 this weekend. Not happy.
So I guess while we're on the garage, I wouldn't just like talk a little bit about the drain. Still don't know 100% what we've got to do. It's kind of looking like I said the last time, is looking like oil separator and storage tank, and then tank has to be pumped. But this Tyler Billingsley there, he's an engineer, and he's asking some more questions about it, because I was wondering about if we concreted the thing in and then had a sump pump, if we could just
Pump it out.
pump it out. And he was going to ask that question. He's working with a couple towns right now and they're building new garages, so they're going to be involved in the floor drain issues, whether they can or can't. And so that may be what we'll be faced with having to do, is the storage tanks, and have the village or whoever pump it out once in a while. But
Yeah.
that's going to be an ongoing expense.
I don't know if they would, if it's, you're talking about the oil separator and stuff?
No, just the runoff water. The oil, somebody else that deals with it, like we did up here.
Yeah. Okay.
The village, well, this was when Rodney was there. I don't know, so things will probably change, but he gave me a ballpark price of like 12 cents a gallon.
Oh, okay.
And I don't really know how many times a year that'd have to be. And
All depends how much it rains, probably, huh?
well, that and we wash the, when we can, we wash the trucks outside, but
Yeah.
the days it's too cold to wash them inside, well,
Yeah.
figured out that it doesn't take too long to fill up a 10,000 gallon tank when you got a pump that
Right.
pumps 5-6 gallons a minute there, and
Yeah.
it takes about a half hour per truck, and you
Right.
start adding that up to 300 gallons
Yeah.
times 4.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times a year that would end up. In summertime, it wouldn't be probably nothing. I mean,
Right.
we can always wash things right out in the yard, but that's what I guess I don't understand. If we can wash them in the yard and let it run off. Well, it seems like maybe you could do the same thing with the water that you're trapping inside, as long as it's not going directly out to wherever.
The water, source.
But they can't go underground. That's a definite no. I mean, it obviously can't be daylighted anywhere. It can't go. I questioned whether it could go into a sewer system, where we could update the sewer system at the garage. At the same time, this water could be pumped up to a mound along with the sewer system. But no, that's definitely not. You can't do that.
Why?
It's the oil. Is the big, but even though it goes to an oil separator,
Yeah, exactly.
the wastewater still can't be pumped. It doesn't really make sense to me.
Huh, okay.
When it's just melted snow and water, I mean, it shouldn't be able to be. But
Okay.
state rules, they're writing new rules, or they have written new rules since they started enforcing these 4-drain rules. They've written up new rules as to what you can and can't do with 4 drains. And daylighted or into any type of sewer system is definitely out.
So, you got anybody in mind to ask these questions?
Well, this Tyler Billingsley, he's finding out, and so far he hasn't charged us anything either. So, and he said he isn't going to. He's kind of just
And who does he work for?
himself. His East Engineering is his company.
East, okay.
Got a hold of him through your brother, Michael. Asked Michael. Michael
okay.
wasn't familiar with 4 drains, and
Yeah.
he said, "Let me talk to his partner, this Jason. Jason put me in touch with this Tyler
Okay.
over a year ago, so I've been talking back and forth with him."
So he's got to come up with some plans.
Yeah, he's probably not going to draw us anything. He's just finding out what we can and can't do.
Right, and then go from there.
Yeah, and he's worked with the state, and he's asked a bunch of questions, and we're trying to find out. It looked like I said, it looks like it's going to be an oil separator and then a storage for the wastewater, and then have to have it pumped out and brought to a sewer system. Or you cement the thing in and don't have a drain. Well, that's obviously the quickest and cheapest thing, but
But that makes sense.
four all
Yeah.
slants to the center, and
No.
the thing's been frozen in the wintertime this
Yeah.
last winter, and you go in the morning, there's a little
Lake.
small pond in the middle of the
Yeah.
garage,
Yeah.
and then when you could look at, well, re-cement the floor and pitch it all to the doors.
But then you're still running outside anyway.
It's running outside, plus, and I know some garages are like that, but they have radiant heat in the floor, and we don't. So you know what's going to be. It's going to run over to the door and freeze the bottom of the door. Because it does that now. Just condensation will run down the doors at night when it's
Right.
really cold, and
Yeah.
you got to go over there and chisel some ice away sometimes to get the doors to open. But, so yeah, there's no good way around it. So.
Okay.
So we're still waiting to find out definitely what we can and can't do there, but
All right.
I did budget some extra money for the worst case scenario, like another 30,000 into the garage budget this year there too. So, we'll see.
Yeah, and then I guess could come up at some point some estimates about how many gallons of water if you're gonna have to, if it's gonna be an ongoing expense, we're gonna have to figure out
Something we'd have
what
to budget for.
that price is gonna be.
So it doesn't matter where we are, if we're in a whole different spot and nowhere near that brook, you still can't go out. You can't run that water underground.
Right.
Okay.
So that's that, and then just a little update on the last TAC meeting there, I re-entered those same 3 bridges into the pre-candidate list. Bridge 49, which is on the end of the Nichols Road along the Bridge Road end of the Nichols Road. And Bridge 50 by Carol Wright's farm on the East Bakersfield Road. And Bridge 45, which is on the Sand Hill Road by the campground. And I think they're going to get ranked a little higher because I think the TAC ranked them up higher than that they have been. And come to find out, of course, we had 2 Bridge 50s. The one by Carol Wright's is 50, and the one down here, the Falls, is also 50.
Right, I was going to say,
So these TAC rankings that Bridge 50 has been getting for the last 2-3 years since I've had it on the pre-candidate list have been all applied to this bridge down here. So
right. Did they change the numbering? Are they gonna? Or how do they
Probably
do that? Just somebody has to remember.
somebody has to pay attention to the Bridge 50 that crosses the Missisquoi or Bridge 50 that crosses Cold Hollow Brook.
Okay.
When you're looking at.
What are the chances of that happening? Okay.
Apparently not very good because, like I said, the ranking's been going on this bridge.
Yeah. So the Bridge 50 by Carol Wright's, is that the one where the intersection we were talking about?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And either way, we put some extra money in our bridge money this year. We got to do something to that bridge this year. And I'm going to apply for a grant for that Bridge 50 and for Bridge 49, the structures grant. So.
Okay.
And I don't know for sure if we're going to be eligible for the grant this year or not for structures, but so either way, whether we get that or not, and obviously this pre-candidate list is just a step before it gets on the state's list, and then even after it's on the state's list, it may be 10 years before anything happens.
Right.
So it's nothing. That's nothing that's going to happen right off. But we got to do something to that deck this year ourselves. The beams need to be painted too, but that's not as important as the deck.
Which is that? Which one's that?
The one on the by Carol Wright's here,
Oh, that one.
on the end of the East Bakersfield Road. It's got holes in the concrete that they're not through yet, but
Right.
every year they get worse. So. I think we need to get St. Ange's they can do that.
A patch kit.
Yeah, because it's more than just patching concrete. There's actually every place there's a hole, there's still some voids under the concrete, so they need to break out more of it. And then they get down to the rebar. The rebar is probably rusted. That's what's popping the concrete. And then they sandblast the rebar. They paint it, and then they can use different types of concrete to patch that. And I'm thinking it's going to have to be something that's going to be cured quickly because we're probably going to have to shut the bridge down.
Yeah.
And it's a long way around for people who live on this end. They go all the way around. And there'll be some antsy people there. So, yeah, just a little update about that.
Okay.
Okay. You want to talk about the drain here, Larry, now, as long as he's still here?
If he's not going to, is that it for?
Yeah, like this, I think Billy Joe's got a check here for the new excavator that we'll be doing and getting, I think, this week sometime.
What we get?
The one from Pigeon Brothers. What was it? We started out, what is it, 82?
Yeah, 82.
And so we're gonna get it. Yeah, we're gonna get the bucket ourselves, and that's around $6,400. Time we got it because I had to buy pins too. And so the excavator is going to be $72,000. So we'll be into it for 78 instead of the 82.
No, I'm saving money.
Yeah, exactly.
Same bucket as he was going to get us. Just that he said if we got a little better deal if he didn't have to deal with the bucket.
So when are you picking that up?
Maybe tomorrow. He's been very patient. We went and looked at it and decided on it there a while ago, but
What are they going to do with the old one? Put it up to bid, or?
well, that's my next question. Gary's, him and his father had an old one there, and they found this. I think they advertised it on Craigslist, and then this broker comes along and buys these old machines, sets them on a boat and sends them overseas.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of thought, well, maybe that's the way to go. But I've had somebody this last weekend asking me about that, and they're pretty interested.
Somebody local?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I told them, you need to look at it. Told them what's wrong with it, and told them what's not wrong with it.
Mhm.
So they're interested, and they wanted to know, are you going to have to put it out? Were you going to put it out to bid? And I told them about this broker, and so.
Did that broker give you a price? Or?
No, I haven't even been in touch with them. I don't have Gary's got the number. I haven't got the number yet to get in touch with them.
Every day. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I don't know if we advertise it, put it out to bid and advertise it, you may have others that are interested too. But
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've done in the past is, we
with their trucks.
give everybody a chance on it, and, if it's somebody local, but you also want to be able to get the price of it.
Yeah.
It's going away.
I don't really know what it's worth. The Nortrax salesman threw a number out there one day, but he weren't planning on taking it in trade either. So I don't know. It's got some value. I mean, it still runs fine and it digs fine. They need some money to continue to keep working.
A little loose jointed, huh?
It is, yeah, and the framing is rotted. It's obviously
I mean, if we could
can be
get
fixed, I'm sure.
kind of an idea of what we want for it, and then place it out for bid with a reserve,
Mm-hmm.
with our reserve on it.
Mm-hmm.
That'd probably be the way to go.
Yep.
Like that broker, he'd probably need a commitment to get a price, or
I haven't even talked with him I haven't gotten the number. That was the route I was going to take, is to get a hold of him and say, hey, we got this machine. Is it, anything you're interested in, and what would it be worth? And I'm sure he would come look at it. But like I said, I haven't. And then, just like I said, this last weekend, somebody called me up and wanted to know what we're going to do with it, and they're really interested in it. They bought a piece of land in Sugar Woods, and they got some work to do with Sugar Roads, and they don't. They said we wouldn't have to use it too long. We'd have our money back if we didn't have to pay too much for it. So.
Right.
sometimes you can also get online, just ask, you put the year and the type of machinery it is, and ask what's out there, and you can get some other prices with other people are trying to sell it for. All right, so if I can get on that, we probably should move on to talk about the pump at the fire station here.
Well,
I went by here about 11:30 last night, and I saw a Christmas light going off, and I thought it was kind of odd that it was going off at that time.
yeah,
Then I got an email today.
Started Saturday morning,
Oh, it's been going off since Saturday?
so
There's something wrong with the light?
Yeah, you're hoping. You're
I
hoping.
went to Charlie Boy's got parts, and I picked up some from Valancourt, and I was coming up Main Street, and I met Mark LaRose there, and hollered to him on the radio, says, "Hey, I'm looking for you." He says, "The light's on up to the fire station." I said, "You better be kidding me." And so anyways, I called Dramatic, how do you pronounce it? Dramatic, I don't know, I can't ever pronounce it. And so I called them, Dr. Mike, and he says, "Well, we can come up and pump that out and get you by the weekend." Well, I said, "I don't think it's been on that long." So I said, "I think if we, talk to the ambulance people over the weekend and kind of conserve their usage up here, that we can get by until, Monday." And so that's what we decided to do. We did, and so it was, of course, that light was still on. So I called them this morning, and they come right up, and they brought a truck, but they didn't pump. In that box, it's on the pump station down there beside the road. There's a circuit breaker in there, and that thing fell out, pulled out, whatever it did, and it it wouldn't let the pump run. So
So it was triggering it that it needed to run, it was full to that level and it wouldn't trigger the
Right,
start.
so anyways, I was up here, I spent a couple hours home this morning, and so we come up here and we shut the electricity off and went back down, and then they put the breaker back in, but there's like, you know how a breaker goes in there, you start in like that, and then you go, and it's a pretty big breaker, and there's the 2 dogs on the bottom of it are gone. So I don't know if that thing, if somebody fooled around with it, well, I don't know why, but it was out, So what we did was
You gotta pull that cap off to get into that, or is that in the box up top?
no, it's a box on top
Okay.
where you can silence the alarm there, and so we, they did take the cover off. It was up, so I was running back, starting to run the pipe back, in the pipe back here, but, so anyways, we shut the electricity off, went back down there, and they, hooked the breaker back up and put it back in there, and the pump started, and so it, was able to pump stuff out. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna stop by here in the next couple days or so, and they're gonna get a new breaker to put in there, something that'll stay in there, so.
Yeah, because that's probably the original breaker.
It could be, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
not something we could pick up here at one of the hardware stores?
No, we talked about that this morning, and, it's a special breaker, so.
Do you think that was
I'll let them guys do
part of
it.
the problem before? When it was backing up?
No,
no, because
because the breaker was all right.
it was the lines that
It
were
was
messed
okay.
up before,
Okay, gotcha.
and then after that cold night, we didn't get that seal of the pump on, because the level wasn't as high like what it was
Okay.
then. Because I don't know, was the light on then?
Oh, yeah.
It was just we flushed it from that other one, and then the light came on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So it's just
and
basically
it was
gonna
and it was pumping. Yeah, this one here was
I don't know why after 20 years.
the communication between the.
Everything.
I think the system's hexed.
Something.
Well, after 20 years, nothing happened, and all of a sudden,
No,
tried to
it's
get it back in
When I
shape.
drove by with Lori last night, I go, "That's not good." I said, I just remember it was New Year's Eve, wasn't it?
Well, it was.
Yeah, it was.
I remember it was.
It was cold.
It was 'cause your
Because I said,
family
remember Brian came over with me? And I said, this is what we were
Larry's
doing.
out there with no hat on. I don't know how his ears stood it. I'll tell you, boy, it was so cold that
It
night.
was cold that night.
yeah.
It was wicked
bitter.
cold.
No, exactly.
Brian will let me forget that. Thanks, Sue.
Yeah,
That's
so,
weird.
and
Did
yesterday was
the
the
legs burn off on it? Or
I know.
Burnt or just...
No, of course, I didn't see it at first. I was up here when they found it, and then I went back, and I don't know if the wire come off the breaker, but the breaker was hanging down, and it, so they reconnected it, put the thing back up there, set it back in where it's supposed to go,
Yeah.
and
It probably was, it got to a point where it was kind of loose. So every time that it started on and off, the
it would.
juice is probably burning because it
Yeah,
was
so I wonder if it
arcing.
melted or
Started arcing.
arc and melted or something.
Yeah. So that's the plan. So hopefully it'd be the end of those troubles.
That should be cheaper than a pump.
Oh
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because the pump's new.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's all I could think of. Is like,
Everything-
what is going on with
Everything's
that?
new in there,
Yeah,
whole
it's just
system
like
we
the
just
line down
replaced.
through. I mean, and they've cambered that whole thing. Is
Toys.
yeah. Well,
Cambered.
yeah.
But it still
The first
got
time there
bugged.
was a section
A month
we
ago.
missed there. We didn't see.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the next time we saw everything from.
Yeah, we found that clean out. It was.
And then you
fire.
guys did whatever you did.
And then, but then we also found that. Remember that clean out, the middle clean out was apart, so it was letting some of the sand go down too.
Yeah,
So
and then
then,
that's fixed now.
so then that's fixed. So.
And yeah, there's some sags in the pipe, but I mean, probably been like that for 20 years.
Yeah. Oh well.
Well, if you get this new excavator, it needs to be dug up and come up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I could think of when I saw that light on. I said, we're going to have to put a whole new line in or something.
Yeah,
'Cause this is
right.
ridiculous.
It is getting ridiculous.
Nothing to do with the line this time, so.
That's good. All right, so that's that on.
That was another thing I want to talk to you about today too, just give you an update of what happened over the weekend.
Yeah, oh, I didn't know about that, I didn't hear anything about that. So I don't think we've got to dig the line up then right off.
No.
There's also
Oh, this is for the next meeting?
Yeah,
April,
That's what this is, 3
yeah,
million?
our meeting will be at 6, and then
and that will
7
be also here?
It will be, and I don't know what they're talking about. It was upon request of Lindsay
Lindsay
from
White.
the MRB.
Mhm.
She's invited other select boards in the area to go
Okay.
over the soil
Right.
samples, soil test samples.
So, that's it.
Which is funny, because UVM did a soil test sample on my property. They called and said, can we do one? And I wonder if it's that same thing,
Maybe it's results of that.
along the river.
Okay, so that's it on the fire station. We should go back up to the 640 item on agenda, which is financing for the ambulance.
No, I'm gonna strike out then if there's nothing else for you.
Bye, Joey.
Ah. Thanks, Joey.
Yep.
So,
How are the back roads?
Good, for this time of year.
Yeah, that's
Right
good.
now, nice.
That's good.
Very good for this time of year.
Yeah,
A little bumpy, but
take it.
Yeah.
so far, I think
Yeah,
it's
it's not
a little
swallowing
frost yet
hard.
to come out, I'm sure, so things
Yeah.
can change. I think for the most part, a lot of them aren't gonna get any worse. Time will tell.
Yep.
Got a lot to do with the
Before you
weather.
leave, I don't know if this has got anything to do with Joey being on the fire department.
Mark forwarded it to you guys.
Oh, so this, the fire department knows
Yeah.
about this, so this is for the select board. Okay.
Very good.
All right, good night.
See you later.
See you later.
So typically when we do financing, the two banks in town that do actually still lend money,
Yeah.
Community National and People's Trust, always throw their hat in the ring.
Okay.
And they had done that, but then I got an email and a phone call from Union Bank. There's not one here, but
Nope, there's mine fit on.
she wanted to see if we had anything going to be purchased this year, and I told her. And as that happened, they came in with the lowest, so.
Union did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just refinanced
It's
with them, they were
still,
great.
it's still up to you guys, but for 7 years is what we had talked about. 2.39 for them, 2.5 for Peoples, and 2.625 for
2.39 Union,
2.39 Union,
2.
2.5 Peoples, and 2.625 Community National.
Yeah, we like to save money.
So if we go with Union Bank, first payment would be till next year, and principal and interest of $22,385.99. But you'll come look these over. They have the price
Okay.
of the various. So I got 5, 6, and 7 year range.
They don't have any penalty to paying off early.
Actually, you know what I found out? It's a Vermont state law that a bank cannot penalize you for paying off a loan early.
That I don't know if that's true though, because when we had money, we could have paid this building off.
Yeah?
Because when they refinanced us about 7 years ago and gave us some lower rates,
Yeah.
it did save us money. And so I thought, well, let's see how much we'll save by paying it off early. So I called them, and they said because we went through the Vermont Bond Bank that we weren't allowed to do that.
What? Really?
Because,
I asked the
because it's
question.
like investors
Yeah, but it could
buying
be
your
for
loans or
a homeowner
something.
that,
Or no, I wonder if it's now, I'm wondering if it's like
Maybe it's because of
vehicles
bond
or something? Yeah, maybe it's because of a bond. Because I asked the question, I said, is there any penalty? They said, actually, it's Vermont state law, you can't. You
But
have
for-
to allow them to pay it off.
Bond
early.
bank, you could.
Interesting.
So people's,
2.5.
yeah, but they didn't have payment.
No, I think that's all she did. She only sent that letter.
you guys miss a good sugar and snow.
I know I would've.
But there was no pickles.
No pickles.
No pickles.
Travesty right there.
Yeah, why
It
no
was.
pickles?
I don't know. Improper planning.
Peter's gonna take care of
Yeah,
that,
right.
let me tell you. No
Next year I'll bring
pickles.
pickles.
There was certainly enough to eat other than.
No, I bet. Tuesday night's a doozy for me. I think I had a school board meeting. Before I forget, I need to ask you a question about the opera house. Before we adjourn.
So it's basically about $200 difference between community and union, so people's would probably be right between them.
Pick your poison.
Might as well give them a try. I'll move for you.
The $200 difference a year
Yeah.
between community and union.
I'll have one reserve thought about that.
Yeah, what is it?
Is it people's communities is in town?
Right.
Unions not. And, for $100 a year,
Right.
I don't know, that's
No, I know, because we've done business with them in the past.
my line of thinking. But,
I mean, they're still a Vermont bank. But they are too.
And they're gonna be paying taxes here in this town, right?
That's a good question.
They pay, community and peoples both pay a very high tax bill.
Well, that's what this is what I'm thinking
A
about.
very,
Yeah.
very high tax bill.
That's a good point. Enough to get our $200 back?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Well, if there's $200 between unions and community.
That means that it's less than 200 per people.
Should only be about $100 difference.
$100.
I don't know, tenth of a point of interest.
All right, so I'll take it back and go to the next one.
The people's?
People,
Might as well.
I know, I'm kind of, no,
Good.
you made a good point.
I'll second it.
Yeah, there we go.
So motion's been made and seconded to accept the financing through Peoples at 2.5% interest for the ambulance financing. Any more discussion? If having none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Right.
All those opposed say nay. Okay. Should get concrete prices from her and make sure that is the prices.
Yeah, I can do that. Although, I'm gonna have to call all of you if her prices are what they say and are lower than that, because expected delivery might be the end of this week or the first of next week.
Of the ambulance?
On the ambulance?
Oh, they're
It's ahead of
painted
schedule.
and stuff?
It's all painted. The decals are on. They're double timing this thing.
Ah,
So, I'll have to have people come in and sign and
okay,
check those things out.
okay.
Alright, Stonehouse Road trailer update.
So you asked me to call Henry
Yeah,
after, but I didn't have to because the former person that was living there came in the next day and needed a copy of the report that you had done previous, because you need to take it to the courthouse because the landlord has changed the locks on the trailer and didn't let them take any of their belongings with them.
Oh.
So they said
So-
she was either going to have to call you, get you involved, or go to the
So more
courthouse. And I
likely,
said you
it
were.
was probably the owner of the trailer that they saw the residents probably locked, or somebody
Right.
changing the locks, so there's nobody there.
There isn't anybody there, and
I know I drove by and
stuff hostage.
it was snow on the ground and it looked like just a footprint, so I'm like, if somebody's living there, there's no car tracks or nothing.
And so she said she only has a car, so if and when the court orders them to let them back in to get their belongings, it's going to take a while to make trips because they don't have the money for a U-Haul and she only has a small car.
but they do not live there, correct?
They are living in different hotels that the state is
Oh.
placing them in the meantime. Right now they're at the crossing.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Okay.
good news, and next on the agenda is we have 911 coordinator appointment, which to make official, we have BJ's names on there, we'd have to nominate her and approve her.
I'll move to nominate Billy Joe as the 911 coordinator. What do you do for that?
You, like if
I'll
there's
second.
a new house being built,
Yeah.
you have to
Assign them a
enter to
number?
the driveway and give them a number, call your point, call 911, send in maps.
Gotcha.
Mary used to do that.
So there's a motion on the floor and a second to have BJ as the 911 coordinator. And have her appointed. Any more discussion? If having none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Alright.
All those opposed say nay. There you go, BJ. Awesome.
Good job, good job.
Good job.
How's
there.
the, Robert coming in and helping?
Good.
It's working out well?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good.
He does deposits great, takes it right to the bank for me.
Perfect. So, can I mention the Opera House? Or you have something else?
No, just the last thing on the agenda
Okay.
we talked before is April 16th meetings at the fire station again at 6. And at 7, Missisquoi River Basin will hold discussion with area select boards about soil tests. So we gotta try to have our own meeting before they show up.
Okay.
So it'll be in the big room probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. It was,
There's, well, we don't, or, I got a couple after too.
we
Okay.
get this pile of stuff to go through too.
So, I guess with the Opera House, I was talking with Dana Kennison, and he was just like, so if you guys, he's like, Chris, I guess, talked to him in Ace about how Opera House had
The paint.
decided to do one side. And he was asking him questions, and Dana was just saying, like, look, I know you need to bid it again, but I'm just telling you as a painter, you're going to want to start thinking about getting your bids out sooner than later. So then I was like, okay, then maybe next meeting we should get Opera House in here and see if they want to pursue that one side or not, to get that ball rolling, if it's in fact going to happen. Or maybe they'll decide not to, I don't know, but...
It should be getting, this April still, so.
Right, so...
May,
Don't seem...
Should be paint bids, yeah.
Right, and then we gotta put it in for however long, and, because he said it's gonna take a fairly good size of equipment you're gonna have to rent, he's like, so, and then, yeah, he's like, you're gonna wanna start thinking about that. I said, good to know. So, I'm just thinking we should put them on sooner than later. Might not have to be the next one, but it should be.
No,
soon.
probably, there's nothing on currently.
Yeah.
So that would-
So that was it.
Let them know that there's a time limit.
the only other thing I wanted to add, just talk about real quick on the agenda, is something we gotta be thinking about going ahead is, I guess, Bob Norris is not gonna seek re-election.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I see that in the paper.
And we've got the police
Wow.
contract coming
Really?
due this coming year, so we
He
have,
had kicked off his re-election the last 2 years. Maybe
you know, it was in the paper.
He was going up and then he back there.
But then again, was that on Friday?
No, this was couple weeks ago that I seen it.
Yeah, okay.
Huh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
So.
that's
that might-
something for us to be, we don't know if Bob is definitely not gonna be the sheriff, we're gonna have everything's gonna be new.
So will that person already be in the position by the time we negotiate the contract?
Yes.
Because they vote in November.
Short.
Go to November,
Yeah.
take office, usually
The
in
contracts are gonna be
January or
December.
January,
Right,
depending on.
and then
We need
okay.
to do them in December though.
Right, because
of the-
that's when the school starts talking to them.
Yeah,
Okay, good to know.
so it's gonna be, we need to be looking ahead and checking all those avenues out,
Okay.
so.
So okay.
So this is just
You should try to be the liaison one, because you're here too.
Right. It's yeah. You might. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the other thing I was thinking about, the aspect of the sheriff contracts is maybe we should go back a few years to see what percentage of the
Yeah.
general fund
We've
it has been going
Oh,
at
right.
over the years, because I know the price has been going up, and we wanted to reflect, if all of a sudden we're paying 40% when we're paying, used to pay 30%.
Right.
We need that to be reflective.
That might also be a good
of any-
time to discuss not having the summer daytime.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely, the general fund can't afford to go up anymore.
No,
So we're gonna have to
we have to figure out.
have some tough
Right.
negotiations.
Right.
So this is emergency training for senior town officials.
Oh, wait, can I back up for a second? Just
Sure.
because I thought of a question. So when the school negotiates the contract, it should be in tandem with the town.
We changed
So-
it a couple of years
right.
ago to be in tandem.
No,
So
exactly.
when he notified us the last time,
Right.
Larry and Susie came here and they met with him.
But right.
To
So
get all
they
the
don't make
dates.
any decisions until, I mean, that's how it should be, but
That's
is
not
that they
exactly
shouldn't
how it
actually
works.
sign the contract until we talk with the town.
Exactly.
I would think it,
Right,
I think it's a
okay.
good idea for the town and the school
School to do it together.
to, have a meeting together.
Yeah.
That's what,
Discuss it.
that was the whole thing we were
tried.
trying to get to this point.
Okay.
To get, yeah, but the school had already
The school
did
had
the
already
Had already
extension or
signed
something.
the
and
contract,
So
right?
then we were
I
like.
was just trying to play it.
So then we made our contract date come out the same.
That's how I
due date.
remembered it, I just wanted to make sure that was the case.
So, yeah, so
Okay.
it'd be good, it would be a good discussion this fall. Okay. Alright, so this is emergency training for senior town officials. Went out to the fire department. So it's basically about just a bunch of dates. If anybody wants to go to these sessions.
I'm not a senior. I don't even qualify for AARP yet.
Emergency management urges those executive, town officials,
I wish
school
I did.
officials, and others to take part in a 3-hour training that gives an overview of emergency response.
So you're an official of everything in town, so.
So that covers everybody.
All that qualifies.
No.
So it's Bennington, Wyndham, Escutney, Thetford, Lamoille,
I don't have any personal days left.
Pulteney, Chittenden, Addison. So it looks like Lamoille's the
Closest one we can
closest
get
one
to.
to us, and that's April 16th. So
Negatory.
That's in the
just
middle.
pass it on.
Okay.
That's in the middle, well, that's what, on
It's
Monday?
our next
It's a Monday.
meeting. That'd be right during our next meeting.
So we got a letter also from Riley Buckus thanking us for the meeting. He just wanted an answer of what would happen.
If nothing happens.
And then there's, because last week the gate wasn't back yet.
Right, I saw him on Saturday, and the gate hasn't been put up because apparently the post is missing. So, he said that she's tied up with a good rope. So,
You saw Mr. Bonomi.
yes, on Saturday.
So he has just the one cow that's tied to the good one?
How many? He had 18, right?
12.
I don't know, we had,
12.
I think 12.
it's one of those of, we given him until the next meeting. And it's like, it's have to find out if Jason St. Pierre
I was going to say.
has come back yet.
Can anybody talk to him?
Yeah, we can't really answer this one until
No.
the event happens because there's no protocol. I mean, it'd be fence viewing, but
No, it ain't.
there will be, but the bottom line is it's not really a town issue unless they're bothering town properties and roads, but this is we're more acting as in-between board and so it's hard for me to answer that last sentence, so yeah, it was,
I'm just wondering if the third party who has the gate, I'm wondering do you think he's even
Well, he must-
approaching him about it, or is he
even aware of it.
That's what I'm wondering. Is he even aware that he is supposed to be the helper in this project?
Yeah, I mean, I can try to get hold of him and have a discussion with him.
Because if he says no, and I'm not gonna, then that's another different conversation.
Right, because I mean, it's out of our control anyways. I mean, it's get a gate.
Right.
That's what it boils down to.
Right.
Doesn't matter who has it.
No, I gotcha. Let's just cross that one off.
But I don't know if you want to shoot a line to league cities and towns, and what does jurisdiction have to do with the town intervening with animals going on somebody else's property?
That'd be
It's personal
animal
property.
control. Bring up the wagon.
I mean,
Large animal.
Yeah. I mean, how does that, yeah.
random.
I don't know. There's one more thing too. Greta contacted me and wanted me to forward this on to the select board. It's basically the timeline of the project for the grant, for the Better Connections grant. So she went to the village meeting on the 27th, and they came up with a timeline. This timeline was before that meeting, so she said it may have changed because she sent me this email before the 27th. But basically, she gave the dates of it would start advertising April 4th. Then they would have to pick their just kind of what we did, where we had to pick a consultant company. So we have to go through that whole process. The village actually would go through that process. However, the project team, they want to create a project team, which would consist of the local project manager, village trustees and manager, the town select board, the community steering committee, Rise Vermont representative, and the Better Connections programs manager and project team will be CC'd on all project correspondence. And then they talk about a steering committee structure and that there's going to be a steering committee. So Greta asked that the project team will be included in all project correspondence and invited to attend all project meetings. It would probably make sense for the select board to appoint somebody to be the liaison for the project.
We need to appoint
Somebody from the select board who wants to be the person who gets CC'd on all the correspondence, maybe attend a couple steering committee meetings.
How about if we pick a different route? Everything gets CC'd to BJ. And then from there, depending on, with her filtering that information to us, then if you can make a meeting or Terry can make a meeting, because the hardest part is not knowing when those meetings are going to be.
I feel like, doesn't that sound like a lot for you, or no?
No, actually, I was going to volunteer to be the person.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I'm not a select board member, so I'm not sure if I'm qualified.
But at least, but that way, at least it
So
just
you
goes
could
to her
be-
and
exactly.
she's informed. And then
Then you could.
she can let us know and say, hey, look,
because I know personally for me, this is all going to be happening
during the summer.
in the summer, and I can't.
And I could probably
I can't say-
attend most, but not all.
Maybe I could pick up where you can.
Yeah, exactly. So why don't?
Tag team.
So.
Where's Dean? Oh.
Where is Dean? Where is Dean? I forgot about Dean.
On his
He'll
way
be in the
back.
same situation he is.
They went to see Catherine this week.
Oh, that's right. He said that.
Oh, yeah,
he
that's
did
right.
tell us that. I forgot Dean. I
Oh,
forgot all about him.
no, he just moved out.
It's like, I sent a text out. Congratulations, Dave.
Yeah.
We're missing the meeting,
So
but here we come.
I'll move to appoint Billy Joe as liaison to the Better Connections project.
Second it.
Motion made, seconded to appoint BJ to be the liaison for the Better Connections
Grant.
grant. Any more discussion? Having none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Right off before the buzzer.
Central Dispatch with Monday Night Step Downs for Enosburgh Fire. Down Central Dispatch, Monday night test zone 14.
I thought the test was at 7.
Dispatch meeting, clear at
Whatever they feel like it.
Or they feel like it.
That's not fair. What if I was taking a nap? And I was waiting
Going
for
back
7.
to Riley's email, just answering by saying we forward
Okay.
information to the Vermont League of Cities and Towns of what our responsibilities would be, because we may even want to end up talking to Vaughn about it, because he might know. This is our responsibility and no further, and
You
we're
guys are
gonna
gonna
get
have
wrapped
to
up
figure it
into
out, right?
somewhere that we don't belong.
Yep.
So,
Is there something else?
The other thing would be the emergency management form update. I sent it to you
You sent it to me recently?
before last meeting. I can resend it to you. It's just an update in the community. I had talked to Joey about it, but it's an update for the business community
Oh, okay.
on
Like we did before.
bingo.
Yeah, okay.
But instead of waiting,
I don't know what you guys are gonna eat.
Waiting for
4
them to send
years
us
or
something,
something.
send them something.
it's already
Oh,
been,
thank you.
Oh,
You know what?
yeah.
Yeah.
On?
So this
Don't be
guy-
afraid, you know.
I
They're
heard
maple
he was
or-
struggling with canned beef. He's
he brought it in today.
What did they bring in?
looking like.
Did you watch the news? How Green Lantern?
Good grief.
It said that they're doing a project down in,
Oh, the guy. Okay,
they're doing a project down south, like Brandon, something. And in the news report, they said, and the project states it will not be visible from the road.
The solar?
Don't count on it.
Yeah. No, I thought
Is
it
it
was
the same
funny.
one that did
Yeah.
up here?
Mm-hmm. And I thought it was so funny because that's like almost verbatim.
we're on a second page on this one, right?
Right.
Perfectly visible from 105 and they're not supposed to be.
I know, but it was a village who,
No,
It doesn't have to get,
it
it's
doesn't
public
have to be.
service board
He's
approval.
just
Yeah.
telling.
right.
He wasn't asking whether it was okay or not.
And they
Doesn't
basically.
have to.
Whichever.
Did you sign it? Did Polly sign it?
No.
I don't think so.
She has two.
Who is this?
These.
Yes. Well, I think
I think it's two.
outside consumption and regular one. At the top usually
Yeah,
says.
usually it's two.
We're gonna wanna think about mowing too.
Oh, did those bids go in for mowing?
She just
It went in the paper.
Oh.
We've gotten one back so far
the deadline is.
for the next bid.
I didn't see it. Was it in the Courier?
Yep.
Yeah.
Courier. Yeah, I saw Fairfax's, but I didn't
Let's
see
see.
It was in the same area.
It wasn't. I was like, wait.
No. It was like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 pages before. And then that section where you saw Fairfax, whatever, there's several others. It seems like it should all been
Together.
one page, but, so there's two on this one at least.
This is for the ambulance? Work needed to be done on the ambulance?
No, Joe, I think
That's
it's Joey's
Joey's?
truck.
Okay.
Anybody have any good April Fool's jokes done on them?
No, but my daughter did one to my mom, and the fact that she lied so readily was disturbing. My daughter has this like boot that you would wear if you broke your leg, So she said, I want to wear this when Granny comes over. So my mom walks in, I said, oh yeah, we spent the day at the hospital yesterday. And I was like, well, what happened? And we hadn't rehearsed this part, and all of a sudden my daughter goes, I was walking the rabbit on a leash, and I stepped in a pothole, and I twisted my ankle. I was like, she didn't even flinch. Yikes! I was like, and then she said April Fool's.
My niece did one funny last year to my sister-in-law. She got up before my sister-in-law, grabbed her cell phone, went into settings, and changed the passcode.
And locked her phone?
Locked her.
Oh no,
So my sister-in-law gets up
mad.
and she's trying to get on her phone. She's like, what am I doing wrong? And then
That's funny.
my niece is in the other room giggling.
Yeah, I was in Rio, so I traveled all day, so nothing really major happened there. But somebody said that on the news, they gave a weather forecast saying there was going to be another nor'easter coming.
Oh. Well, Terry and I think there's been another one, but we're unsure.
Where's that?
It was in the messenger.
Oh, have you not seen it? Here you go.
You should read it because you are quoted.
You were
Yeah, you're quoted in there, Larry, so.
right there.
Oh, the AIDS problem?
Yeah, and then on the second page it says Larry Jarvis states, which I don't know how they get away with without calling it an April Fool's.
Did you talk to them?
No.
They're quoted too.
Because we were thinking, we're like, well, this sounds like Pierre.
This is funny. Oh, so they switched it around, put it as a village,
Yeah.
with the H on it.
And I knew something was up when I was like, that seemed a little too easy.
But there's not been a time where they said April Fool's in
Yeah.
any place. They even had on their Facebook page.
That's why.
It was even online too, the online edition. I even looked in the comments thinking that it would.
That it would be some clue?
That there would be something.
That's why I got that phone call.
Why somebody called?
Somebody called you about it?
Yeah. And it was like, and it's the one that has
Oh, you have
the
to send
situation
this
down by the bridge. That person. By Carol Wright.
Signed.
Oh.
Yeah. And he's like, what is this all about? It's like,
I was like upset. I'm like, who made this decision? So without talking to anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, my wife read it. My wife read it first, and then she says, she looked at that and she said, you need to read this. And then I read it, and I called her immediately.
I told him, I was like, honey, listen to this.
I was like, Mary, they can't take our age.
Oh, man.
You putting nutmeg? I like it.
Very
I
good.
love them. I definitely love them all.
Let's see the rest of this.
Somebody's student. Yeah.
Some people just don't have enough time.
What's up?
They have insurance. Harrison.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
it's
there's
attached,
more.
yeah. It's
Okay.
Harrison Ready Mix and Harrison Concrete, but they sent one.
Oh, yeah.
They sent 2 checks, but 1 certificate of insurance.
Oh, did you find out about the laptop?
It's ordered and it should be here within a week.
Oh, nice, okay.
And I'm basically just gonna say whatever was on the lister's computer. She had Publisher in Word and Excel.
Right.
Just move that to that. I'm having moved the old stuff too, so she'll have whatever was worked.
Oh, right. If there was any.
Right.
Haven't had any more issues with the internet or not the internet?
Issues with the internet.
It wasn't the internet you had problems with?
Oh, the website.
Website.
No, I think it's fine now. Just need some updates here and there, and
Your wife on that.
Daryl hasn't had the time for that.
Here.
Oh, Pierre does?
He said he would come
Oh,
over
no.
when he did have
I saw an advertisement in the paper.
This one.
Oh, did we ever
Montgomery trying to hire an assistant to the select board.
the time.
Yeah.
Richford has one.
Did you see that? Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Did you need to sign on that sheet too?
Both.
Oh, man, I didn't.
What do we do? What do we do?
We signed one, but not the other.
Oh,
At least, yeah, at least good too.
The assistant that just be minute taker, right? That's
Well, they do any legwork or whatever.
Oh.
That, you know, like if you said
Like a
contact
manager.
on or contact, you know.
Yeah, they do that.
But it's not very many hours.
No.
So it's hardly somebody's full-time job.
I'll be your assistant. What do you pay me?
On
here,
there.
hand that down. That's her paper. What do you think, Paula, do you think I ought to make a motion that we buy some chairs like this for the town clerk's office? Is that it?
Are you kidding? My feet do not touch the ground on these chairs. I feel like I'm at like Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, but if we have just a little cushion in some chairs, you know, it would help. Huh?
In those wooden chairs?
Well, you know, like desk chairs, like
Yeah.
office chairs.
Like rolly
Yeah.
chairs.
Yeah, I probably could get a price on
Yeah.
some rolly chairs.
I
that
like
have
that
some
idea.
cushion.
Yeah, I'm
I
all-
think it
I'm
would-
all for it.
I think the people that come in to do some research probably would appreciate it. So.
Yeah, I like that idea. Can we move to adjourn? I'm
Larry
okay.
still has signing
Still
to do,
has
but you
signing.
can.
Oh,
But you can make the motion so then he can pick out.
okay. I move to adjourn.
Okay.
Having no more discussion?
So, motion's been made, and seconded to adjourn. Any more discussion? If having none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
Cut.
7:35.
God.